Welcome to the 2019 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. We are here at Carleton University in Ottawa, Ontario, and we have a quarterfinal matchup for you today between St. John's Ravencourt out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, playing their local rivals, Kelvin High School, also out of Winnipeg, and it is sure to be quite the game. These two teams very competitive with each other, very competitive in the Winnipeg scene as well. So we will get underway in just a minute. The horn has already begun, so the time will start ticking as these teams walk to the line. We'll have SJR in the dark jerseys on the right side of your screen for you, and Kelvin in the white. This is Rebecca Thompson on your earwaves today. Kelvin, of course, are the 2018 reigning national high school champions. So looking to repeat back-to-back years. SJR, an incredible program in their own right. They've attended every high school championship. They've only missed the podium twice. Last year they missed out on quarterfinals for the first time ever, and some would have said it would have been a rebuilding year for them, but as head coach Gene Wright said to me before the game, SJR doesn't rebuild, they just reload. So reloaded and ready to go for this one as the pull will get us underway. The quarterfinals, High School Ultimate Championships 2019. Looking already for an option, some tight person coverage, gets the option upfield. Rideman has the handler reset and hits it. Lynn upfield to Brudney. Looks like there was a call earlier in the play, so the disc will reset here. Caitlin Cho with the disc. One of the two Cho sisters on this SJR team. Just conversation, I think, about where people were before as they reset, so maybe a pick called. Looks like it's not going to have affected the outcome of the throw, so Arabella Brudney, never mind, going back into the middle of the field again. Caitlin Cho resetting now to the far side with Lynn. Lynn has to put it up into space, and the defense comes in. Just put enough pressure to cause the drop there, and now Kelvin, their first chance on offense. Peterson upfield now to Boyda. That deep shot is going to hang into the hands of the defender. A good look there for Riley Peterson, but it was blading down towards the defense, who read it well. So a second chance here for SJR. Still the first point of the game early on. It's like another pick was called as Brudney has the disc on the far sideline. So the disc will return to Glacken. Glacken goes up line looking for Lynn, but it's too far in front. Megan Gillis putting on some pressure there from Kelvin as well. Now they're straight back the other way. Knockhart going 1 and 2 with Wilson. Wilson has the reset with Peterson. Looks like maybe a travel called, so the disc will reset with Sam Peterson. Riley and Sam, two brothers on this team. Sam Peterson gets the option under. His brother Riley looking for the reset. Puts it floating into space. A little bit of coverage. The second attempt on the layout. And that's going to stand as a turnover here for SJR. A long first point to start off this game. Both these teams just trying to feel each other out. And a run through D, Quinn Wilson there. Looked like there might have been a little bit of contact, but no call was made. Gets his hand to the disc, and a chance for Kelvin right on the doorstep, looking for the first break of the game. Wilson resetting to Peterson. The inside out flick and the run on D there. Bria Riedman gets her hands to that and redirects it into the ground. Cho hits Riedman under. Now Glacken on that far sideline. Cho swinging it around. The touch from Kelvin almost could have caught that for a Callahan. SJR tried to lay out to retain possession. But Kelvin, right off the bat in this game, the pressure defense, not giving any options on those unders. And that was Ethan Boyda with the D there, as Wilson will walk to this near corner of the end zone. Still looking for the first point of the game. Wilson throws the dish pass into Gillis, and that will do it. First point, first break of the game, and Kelvin just turning on the Jets on defense to make it 1-0. Megan Gillis with the goal there for Kelvin. It's a member of the 2018 MoFo women's team that won the first ever MoFo women's gold medal at CUC this past summer. She was also on the 2018 U20 national team that won the bronze medal at the World Junior Ultimate Championships. And if that wasn't enough, she'll also be competing with the 2019 U24 mixed team at the World Under 24 Championships in Germany this summer as well. So no doubt she'll have an impact on this game. I'm sure we'll be saying her name quite often. This team does have 8 players who played on MoFo this past summer. Four of their women and 4 of their guys. So definitely a lot of players who've played together, but also players who've played at an elite level in the touring scene. SJR, of course, have quite a few players from those MoFo teams as well. Quite a few of these players have played together. Caitlin Cho, a teammate of players like Gillis and Knockhart in the summer months. So now the disc comes over to the near sideline. Yonkman up line now. SJR looking for a reset. Finds it on the second attempt. Yonkman swinging it around to the far sideline. Boroditsky puts it back into the middle. SJR now looking for that deep shot. It hangs into space in front of the receiver. Has tons of time. Puts it into space. Had 2 receivers there. Good communication. And they get their hands to it. A nice clean point. No turnovers. And they tie it at 1-1. SJR quickly resetting a little bit from that first point where they couldn't really ignite their offense there, couldn't really get it going, and immediately come out with a clean offensive hold. And that's exactly the kind of response you want for your team. Get broken on the first point of the game and come out right away to say maybe that was a one-time thing. So we'll get a chance now to see SJR out on defense. The deep shot coming up. That one's going to sail away from the receiver. Peterson trying to track that one down, but that disc just sailing away from him. SJR now, their chance to break. Cho has her sister in front of her. Doesn't find her on the first one. Has to go back into the middle. And unfortunately, stall count climbing makes a bit of a shaky throw. See her kind of hanging her head over that one. She knows she'll want that disc back. It's going to give another opportunity here to Kelvin on the end zone line. And the upline pass. Jukes once, jukes twice, and Wilson gets open upline, makes it 2-1. Early still in this game. Kelvin looking fairly calm and composed on the doorstep of the end zone. SJR once again on that point, stifled by the intensity of the person defense there from Kelvin. SJR's team has been around for a long time. They were founded at their school in 1990. They've attended every single year of the high school ultimate championships here. They've come first 3 times, second, third twice. They had an 8th place finish and then a 10th place finish last year. But back in the quarterfinals, looking to go back to the top 4 as they are back out on offense now. That pole is going to sit around near the middle of the field. Glocken centers to the middle. Upfield has to get low to keep that one in her possession. Boroditsky does well and now puts it up line. Reese has Lynn. Lynn goes deep, hangs that one into space. It's going to sit at the back of the end zone, and his receiver gets the body position. Evan Toth gets up big and ties this one up at 2-2. Good patience there from SJR, working it up this near sideline, waiting for that opportunity to strike deep. It's interesting. We've seen SJR going this direction towards the right side of your screen. They've had 2 perfect offensive points, not a single turnover. But for some reason, faced with the other direction, they haven't been able to get it off their own end zone line. So maybe just need a change in personnel or a change in your mental game, just a second to reset. They know that they've had those clean points already in this game, so we'll see what they can produce on this one. Of course, they are starting on defense. Kelvin, just the 1 break in the game early on, the first point. So SJR looking to break back to put us back on serve. Just about 15 minutes gone in this game. These are 75-minute long games, or the first to 13 points, so half would be at 7. There's a tiny bit of wind on the field, not a huge amount. We saw a little bit yesterday morning as well. Peterson puts it through a narrow gap to Wilson, who's going to look for Peterson, but looked it off. Instead, now in the middle. Puts up a big floaty one to the far side of the field. 3 players in the area. SJR gets their hand to it and a chance to go the full 70 yards for the break. Looking for that upline throw and finds it. Dubitz centers to the middle, now around to the far sideline. Tried to get it upline to Riedman there, but a little bit of too much spin on that disc and it's in and out of her hands. Wilson has Peterson. Sam Peterson looking for the reset with Gillis. Wilson upfield. Puts a big around backhand to the far side, just inbounds. That will do it. Ethan Boyda. Another goal to his name. And Kelvin take advantage of their second opportunity on offense there. Make it 3-2. See Sam Peterson and Wilson combining quite effectively throughout these handler sets. No doubt that there's quite a bit of chemistry between the handlers on this Kelvin team. They've been able to work it either upline or fake that line throw and go for the break backhand. SJR maybe just needing to readjust on some of those handlers. Maybe look to change up the mark and do something a little bit different. So far we've seen 2 perfectly clean points from this line that's currently out for SJR. See what they can produce on this one. Glocken in the middle has the reset with Yonkman. Finds some space upfield now. But unfortunate turnover there. Maybe he's getting a little bit shaky, a little bit too excited. As Way tried to move the disc further upfield, he'll have a chance now to set the mark. Going deep now. That disc is going to hang in space in front of the receiver. Time to track it down, but it sails out of bounds. The bid attempt, fortunately, a little too far away from him. For a second there, it looked like that disc was just going to sit up perfectly. But now SJR have the disc back in their hands as they center to the middle. Cho puts it through the space. Finds Reese. Now Way. Now the deep shot comes up. Has the receiver that same back corner of the end zone. Both players unfortunately going up a little bit early. It pays off here for Kelvin. Wilson. The reset, look at it. Popped over his head, but managed to track it down on the second attempt. Wilson is going to unleash a huck of his own. Has the receiver going. Defense tracking it down. And again, both players going up a little bit early. And it looks like there might be a call here. Bit of contact for sure on that one as Tramley went up for the pass. Did look like both players maybe still going up a little early. This might have been sailing over their heads, but hard to tell how it affected the play. Looks like there'll just be a quick discussion and No contest here from SJR, so the disc will stay in the hands of Cameron Tramley, grade 12 student here for Kelvin. Timeout called right in the middle of the field. Less than 10 yards from the end zone line, and a smart play there. Sokowski calling the timeout, recognizing a chance to extend their lead to 2, the biggest lead of the game. These two teams are both very experienced. They know how much every single point counts in these big games. I'm sure they'll be looking to run a clean, textbook end zone set right out of this timeout. Sometimes running your end zone absolutely perfectly is the perfect thing to pump up your team. SJR, on the other hand, will look to stifle this on the end zone line and try to go back the full 70 yards the other way. Still looking for a hold on this point. These two teams have played each other once this year at an indoor tournament in Winnipeg. Kelvin took that one in the finals. SJR felt like that game could have been theirs as well, so I feel like these two teams are very competitive with each other. Of course, hard to compare indoor to the outdoor game. So far, we are seeing a fairly evenly matched game, although Kelvin right now, a little bit of that extra edge on defense. Both teams just taking their time through this timeout. It's early in the day here, only 9:20 in the morning, but it is definitely climbing up in the temperatures as well. It's going to be a beautiful, almost arguably summerish day here in Ottawa. It's only about 15 degrees right now, but it is always hotter down on those turf fields too, so these players definitely need to be drinking a lot of water today. Anton Sokowski will have the disc here in the middle of the field. Disc in play. Finds a reset right away through the stack. Now into the middle with Wilson. Has the option on that far side. Huge catch. Extending for that grab. Gets up big to reel that one in. Adam Fast secures the goal. An incredible play, and they get themselves another break. Take this game to 4-2 and the biggest lead of the game so far. Kelvin doing a very good job of clearing through the stack in the end zone there. Each cutter taking their one chance to make a good cut and then immediately getting back in. And on the third attempt, it opened up for Fast, who had to lay out, but made it look very good in the process. Kelvin, the 2018 reigning champions for CHSUC, of course, also the Spirit champions from last year's tournament as well. Took home both titles in 2018. SJR looking for a response after that break as the flick pull comes up. Sail back into SJR's end zone. Great pull there from Kelvin. Dubitz puts that one up high. It floats and it's bobbled off the hands of Toth, but he passes it to himself on the second attempt. Now the deep shot unleashing, looking, tracking, and it's going to sail too far downfield. Away from Firestein there. Some of these deep shots have been catching those trailing edges. The disc not meant for the receiver, but catches it anyways. Picking up second attempt there and then resetting to Peterson. Now the deep shot comes, looking for Gillis. She's going to track as that one falls away from her, and she somehow comes down with it through the contact from the defense. Megan Gillis skying two defenders. And now another blading around shot, this time for Knockhart in the end zone. And Cassidy Knockhart with the goal makes this one 5-2, but that point, it's got to be almost all credit to Megan Gillis somehow coming down with an incredible grab between double coverage on that play. Like the way Kelvin moved up the field there. Megan Gillis tracking down that huck. Her teammates are already moving up the field to try to set up their end zone or anticipate the next play. You often see teams get caught standing and watching when their teammates are making those incredible plays, and the transition up the field can be a little bit slower. Not the case here for Kelvin. So 5-2. 2 more points for Kelvin to try to take halftime here. Just under 30 minutes gone in this game. SJR, of course, looking for some response before Kelvin can get to half. Into the middle here. Yonkman puts it upfield. Finds Emily Cho. Now Riedman. That one just shot away from Caitlin Cho. It's just behind where she was cutting. A chance back in the hands of the Clippers. Knockhart puts that over to the far sideline. Resetting now. Wilson has to get low. Puts it upfield. Desrochers now working it up that far sideline. Desrochers is streaking to the end zone. Tries to reel it in. It's bounced off of the defense, and Knockhart on the second effort. And that is the story of Kelvin's game right now, backing each other up, and they come away with another goal. Kelvin Clippers lead this quarterfinal matchup 6-2. SJR a little bit unlucky on that play. They got there on defense, but wasn't enough. You always want to say try to catch your D's, but that one did look like it was coming in pretty hard for him to catch that one. He looked like he did everything he could to get there, and unfortunately it still wasn't quite enough as it bounced into the hands of Knockhart. Kelvin right now just looking a little bit like the stronger team. One step ahead of this SJR team. That being said, SJR has put together a lot of great flow and passes. They're looking to the right places, just have missed the mark on some of their execution, which is fully within their grasp to fix. And I don't think we've seen the last of what this SJR team has to offer in this game just yet either. Still plenty of time to go. Maybe Reel off a couple points here before halftime. Yonkman will get to walk this to the middle of the field, just in front of where the brick mark would be. SJR setting up in a horizontal flow, goes upfield right away. Looking for the next option, has it up line and finds it. Yonkman now going to the end zone, has the receiver and finds her. Arabella Bredney with the score, and SJR making it look so easy on that point. Maybe a chance to build some momentum for this team. Bredney running onto that one in yards of space. So SJR looking to shake some things up. They're still looking for their first break of the game. You see Coach Dean Wright down there in the green shirt on the line talking to his players. Dean Wright has been coaching this team for 28 years. An incredible amount of service he's done for the Ultimate community. Of course, he is a Hall of Famer for Ultimate Canada as well. Taking this team to every single one of these events. This is the fourth time attending this event for Captain Caitlin Cho as well, showing some of her experience already in this game. Pole unfortunately sailing onto the other field. Kelvin looking for a hold here to take halftime. Knockart will have the disc in the middle. Has immediately the under option with Wilson. There was a pick called as Sam Peterson struck deep. So Quinn Wilson, grade 12 student on the far sideline, will keep the disc in his hands. Maybe just discussing what the stall count was at. Knockart, not quite there on the reset. Goes upfield now to Peterson. Peterson had to tumble to catch that one, but now up line. And it's bounced off the hands of Boyda. An uncharacteristic mistake here from the Clippers. Gift an opportunity for SJR, still looking for their first break of the game. Finds the space upfield. Looking for the next option. Murphy resets to Glacken. Yonkman trying to go 1 and 2 with the handlers there. Instead, Bredney in the middle. Now upfield once again. That one's going to sail over the head, but it's reeled in on the second attempt into the hands of Bryn Murphy on the end zone line. Back with Yonkman in the middle. Around to Lynn. Lynn tries to milk that into the end zone. Just on the end zone line. Goes around with the blade, and it's picked off by Gillis. Megan Gillis read that all the way. She fakes the huck and resets to Wilson, who finds Peterson. Now Boyda on that far sideline. Kelvin looking for the deep strike. Wilson, unfortunately, had just turned to come under as that huck went up. So unable to get to that one. SJR will immediately move it the other way. That sails over top, and Gillis again picking it off. Centers to the middle. Riley Peterson puts it up for Wilson. Wilson unleashes. Big flick huck to the end zone. Has two receivers, and it's reeled in. Sam Peterson with the goal. Had two receivers, and Peterson said, "This is my goal. I'm going to take half." And Kelvin, a commanding lead right now at 7-3 at halftime. SJR managing to get some amazing break opportunities on that point, so a lot to keep their heads high here. Lots to work on moving into the second half, but I'm sure we'll be seeing lots of action. A great game so far here at the 2019 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. As the players take a break, so will we. We'll be back with you in second half action in just a minute. Welcome back to the 2019 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. We are here with quarterfinal action between two local rivals. The Kelvin Clippers from Winnipeg, Manitoba, facing off against St. John's Ravencourt Eagles, also out of Winnipeg. Right now, Kelvin a step ahead in the first half of this game. They lead 7-3 here over SJR. SJR looking for a bit of a comeback. We saw some awesome promise from them at the end of the first half, so we'll see what they can produce here. But for now, Kelvin getting to start this one on offense. Find Wilson upfield. Wilson looks off the deep option. Looking for the next one. Congestion. Peterson collects on the reset. Now going upfield. Had two receivers. Maybe a miscommunication there as man with the drop. And now a chance for SJR, but unfortunately for Cho, in and out of her hands. They were looking for an early break to start the second half. And now Wilson looking for that chance for the hold at a half as Knockhart puts it upfield. Riley Peterson looking into space, into the end zone. The defense gets there, gets a hand to it, and pushes it out of bounds away from two receivers. Great play there. Just back in play now. Yonkman on that far sideline. Upfield to Lynn. Looks like there was a pick called as Wilson asks that they send the disc back. Back in play with Yonkman. Puts it into space upfield. And Riley Peterson, no problem to run onto that one as that disc was sailing out of bounds as well. Kelvin 10 yards from the end zone. Wilson juking up line and gets it once again. He loves those sidestep jukes and he makes it work here. Extend their lead to 5 points at 8-3. The biggest lead of the game, and Kelvin right now looking like that national championship winning team from last year. A little bit unfortunate for SJR there, especially after that first turnover that they managed to generate. Unfortunate drop from Caitlin Cho, but they are generating those turnovers from Kelvin, so a lot to work with here. They're getting the opportunities, just need to value the disc a little bit more. Kelvin right now just seemed to be gaining more and more momentum as this game goes on. They said that they found yesterday to be fairly tough. Every team they played gave them a really good fight. They felt like this year was the most competitive pool play that they've had in their years at this event, and that it really helped warm them up for today. Currently, that seems to definitely be the case. They've had no problems getting their offense going. Yesterday in their first game of the day, they struggled against St. Paul. St. Paul was actually leading them by 3 points with about 8 minutes to go in the game, and Kelvin somehow rallied off 3 fast points, brought it to Universe, and got away with a close one. But it means that they've definitely already been tested in this tournament, and that can be a really good thing going forward into bracket play as SJR look to get their first point of the second half. Emily Cho resets the disc. Dubitz going 1 and 2 with Yonkman. Yonkman has Bredney upfield. Emily Cho gets up to reel that one in. Now looking for Yonkman, who has to do well to get that one right on the doorstep here. Looking for a hold. Has the option up line and hits it. And that will do it for the point here. Alex Dubitz streaks up line. Hear him screaming for the disc as he went. And SJR finds a hold to make it 8-4. A good hold at that, too. We've seen So many great points here from SJR. So many clean points, no turnovers. Unfortunately for them, when SJR has turned it over, Kelvin have been able to take advantage. Kelvin and SJR have been battling together for years. Kelvin have won 3 of the last 4 provincial championships in Manitoba. Of course, SJR won provincials in 2017, so these two teams have been battling in the Winnipeg scene. It's worth noting, too, that the Winnipeg high schools have done incredibly well here at the High School Ultimate Championships, with all 4 teams making quarterfinals, both of those games playing against each other. So we're guaranteed to have 2 of the 4 semifinalists be from Manitoba. Could end up seeing an all Manitoba final later. Time will tell. As the Clippers look to get their offense started, as Knockhart has it in the middle. Putting that one through some coverage, and looks like there's actually going to be a strip call here by the defense, thinking Dubitz maybe got his hand to that first, and it's going to be contested, so disc back with Knockhart. Has Gillis in the middle and finds her. Gillis fakes the huck, resets instead to Peterson. Wilson. See, he was looking for that deep, wanted it, instead gets Sam Peterson under. Wilson and Peterson combining here through the handlers. Now Wilson getting a bit creative. Now that deep shot is going to come out. It's going to hang multiple people in the area, and Sam Peterson was tracking it down all the way. Gets his hand to it, avoids contact, makes a great catch, and 2 trades to start the second half here, 9-4. Kelvin maybe still getting a little bit of luck on their side with some of these plays. Bit of a Hail Mary pass there to 3 receivers going to the end zone. Defense, again, a little bit unlucky to get there, but Sam Peterson doing a great job to reel that disc in, avoiding any contact with all the numbers of people that were in the space. And Kelvin starting strong at the second half. SJR taking a timeout. I think at this point, down in that huddle for SJR, they've got to realize the things that are going very well for them in this game and reset a little bit on their focus here. Second half is a new half. It's 2-1 in the second half, so maybe time to go on a run of their own. We will be streaming the semifinals and the finals for you here today as well from the 2019 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. We're at Carleton University all day long. We will be seeing the winner of this semifinal or this quarterfinal in the semis at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, facing off against the winner of Etobicoke Collegiate out of Toronto against Pierre Mariste from Quebec. Right now, that game relatively close as well. Looks like it's 7-4 for Pierre Mariste. I actually believe it's 7-4 for Etobicoke. Hard to see from our side of the field. Trying to scope out that scoreboard on the far sideline. Try and get you score updates as we can. The other quarterfinals taking place right now on our other field. A little bit further away from here. We've got Parkdale facing off against Bowmanville. Bowmanville, the silver medalist from last year, and Westgate out of Manitoba facing off against Grey Academy. So like I said, guaranteed to have at least 2 Manitoba teams in the semifinals today. Unfortunate that they all had to play each other. Couldn't end up with an all Manitoba semifinals, but see how SJR can respond out of this timeout, taking those few minutes to regroup here. So Kelvin getting set to pull, looking to extend their lead. Nice response here from SJR. Would maybe help build some momentum. They're still looking for their first break of the game. Need to get this hold first to give themselves that opportunity. Knockhart will pull this disc and it'll sit just around the 40-yard mark. Immediately moved upfield here. Toth on that far side has the reset with Yonkman. Yonkman hits Toth again. Toth had a few options, has Yonkman streaking up line. It's like an uncontested strip calls. That disc was just knocked out of the hands of Yonkman. And Yonkman resets now into the middle. Boroditsky now on the end zone line with Emily Cho. And a little juke. Evan Toth getting open, but there was some contact in the middle. His defender there was on the ground making the call. McKinley Hall there. So it looks like a contested foul call. This will return to the hands of Emily Cho, the younger of the Cho sisters. Tried to go up line to Yonkman, and it was shot just behind where his cut was going. Kelvin a chance again here, as that one's almost picked off on defense. Looking upfield. Not sure what the call was there. Maybe a pick before. Glocken signaling that it needed to go back. That one's going to sail high into coverage, and it's picked off by Yonkman, who immediately goes up line now. Boroditsky with the disc, looking again for Yonkman, who scoops it up in the end zone. And SJR get the disc right back, find their hold, make it 9-5 in this game, and out of half it, we're at 2-2 here. SJR now putting themselves in a chance to look for their first break and close the gap. Kelvin, but stifled on their own end zone line in that one. It's like both teams putting on some big lines. SJR will try to create something on defense here. Kelvin will try to keep their cool on offense. Lynn will get set to pull here for the Eagles. Pull's gonna set up just inside the field. Immediately into the middle here for Peterson. Finds an option and gets it right back, and he's going to shoot deep. That's going to hang near the back of the end zone. Defense getting there, and the defense tracks it down, gets a hand to it. That disc just hung up that extra second in the air, allowed SJR to run it down, and we'll see what they can do with this opportunity. Defensive play there from Clayton Campbell. So he'll tap the disc in. Not a lot of options. Tries to go up line, finds Lynn. Lynn unleashes, has one receiver trying to track it down. Looked like there was a miscommunication there between him and Firestein. Firestein was juking in the middle, ended up committing to his under instead of the deep. Brudney was also streaking deep, but that disc was sailing always too far away. SJR maybe just a little too eager to try to get that goal there. Kelvin takes possession again, and this time goes deep looking for Gillis. Gillis trying to track it down. Bobbles off the hands of the defense. She can't get the second attempt. Now Brudney in the middle here for SJR. Dubitz. Campbell resets to Lynn on the far side. For Campbell in the middle. Has Firestein. Lynn, one of the captains of this SJR team, trying to find their first break of the game. Brudney looks for an option. Brudney running out of options, puts it towards the end zone and tracked down by the defense who got the body position. Looks like there might have been a call upfield. Gillis saying that the disc had been stalled down. Just deciding where the disc will be. So it'll be a contested stall down, so it will stay back on the end zone line with Wilson. So he gets it back underway. Looking for that deep option, fakes it on the first one, resets instead to Peterson. Looking for the deep option, has the receiver going and the defense there as well. The receiver bounces the disc off of her legs. Incredible play there. Coco Diamond Burchuk. But there's a discussion on whether that disc was up or down. Hard to see from our angle up here, but Diamond Burchuk, it did look like it bounced off her legs and into her hands. So will be a contested down call. Disc will return to the hands of Miles. Miles going up line right away. Wilson juking once again, but gets open on the reset. Now looks for that deep shot again, this time looking for Peterson, trying to find it, and he does. Manages to turn his head at the right moment. I actually think he was straddling the line when he made that catch. I'm not sure that should have been called in, but the call on the field is in. Kelvin keeping their lead at 5 points here at 10-5, 3 points away from taking themselves back to the semifinals. And when you have a receiver as reliable as Sam Peterson, why not keep hitting him? He's managed to reel in a number of these points here for the Clippers. SJR maybe a little bit unlucky on some of these plays. Kelvin set to pull. They only need 3 more points, and at this point I think they'd be happy to trade it out. Dis now on the far sideline here for SJR, finding Way. Way had the option coming up line, but threw the pass maybe a little early, extending in front of his receiver. Kelvin a chance to break here. Tuttle looking for the reset. Riley Peterson has Knockhart. Now Peterson up line again. Fakes the deep shot. Signaling for some support to come downfield. Gets it up line. Keeps his feet in bounds there. Sokowski looks inside, and the run through D. Emily Cho. That was Arabella Brudney with the D through the contact. Looks like there was a call, but it was retracted now as SJR have a chance to go back the other way. Brudney on that far side. Brudney is going to shoot deep. A great shot from Brudney to Caitlin Cho, just on the end zone line. SJR through the gap, and they find the point, and that point was all about Arabella Brudney. Incredible defensive play. Gets the disc on the far sideline and shoots deep, making it look effortless. Keeping this game at 10-6. Just about 15 minutes, under 15 minutes to go. So SJR at this point, they're going to come back. They've got to go on a run now. SJR have not been able to break down this Kelvin offense yet. Not been able to generate a break. They have generated plenty of turnovers. So it's definitely within their reach and capabilities in this game. SJR with the familiar D-line out, keeping some of the same players who were just on this field before. Captain Caitlin Cho. She's having a great game as well. See if she can help get this turnover here for SJR. A couple breaks in a row would put them right back in the conversation for this victory here. Kelvin, of course, not willing to let that happen easily. Wilson has Peterson going. He's going to hit him. 2 receivers in the space, and that just bladed down to the ground. Looked like it was going to sit up, and it just curved into the ground. Chance for SJR. Lynn is going to shoot deep into coverage, and that disc is again going to blade into the ground. The edge on this disc just not sitting up for these receivers right now. Gillis in the middle, and an uncharacteristic mistake from Gillis. SJR looking for a break and maybe just rushing it. As it goes to Gillis again on the far sideline. Toes her feet to keep it in bounds. Resetting to Peterson. Gonna unleash it deep. Has Wilson going, tracking it down. Quinn Wilson into the end zone. Reels in the goal. Takes this to 11-6. And the Kelvin Clippers look like a dominant team. They look like a team headed straight back to the semifinals for a second year in a row. And unfortunately for SJR, 2 chances with the disc back in their hands. 2 chances to break. And both times just looked like they got a little bit too excited. Rushed it just a little bit. And unable to convert. And there's only so many times you can allow Kelvin to have those chances again until they take advantage of it. This time, coming through with the goal, 2 points away from heading back to the semifinals. You can see it. Kelvin taking their time on the line here. SJR did sprint to the line and immediately put their hands up. They know that there is under 10 minutes to go in this game. Another flick pull comes up here from Kelvin. SJR will collect through Yonkman. Dubitz on the near sideline now. A bit of contact through the mark. Resetting. Manages to collect is Campbell. Now Bredney upfield. Yonkman looking for the hands of Toth, but it was a little bit behind him. He had to turn to try to make that catch. Kelvin looking to make it game point now. Has to lay out, but manages to get there. Now resetting. Diamond Burchuk finds the option with Tramley. Tramley's going to shoot that one deep. He was running out of options. It hangs in that corner, but the SJR defense was ready. Into the middle for Cho. Now Toth has Cho going up line. Mark did well to peel off there. Yonkman collects. Now Toth on the far sideline. Had Bredney going, didn't hit it. Now that one up to Bredney, and it was just a little high for her reach. She was in yards of space upfield, but another opportunity back to the Clippers as Diamond Burchuk collects under. Looks like there'll just be a call here. Caitlin Cho waiting to tap the disc back in on Coco Diamond Burchuk. Kelvin looking for the deep opportunity. That one's going to sit up hanging in the air, but moving away from the receiver. Had Natividad going. Now Bredney puts it up line to Cho for SJR. Bredney on the near sideline. Bredney has been outstanding for this SJR team in this game as she narrowly finds the gap through to her captain. Caitlin Cho resets now. Yonkman. Now Riedman has none other than Bredney, but just behind her. She had to turn to try to make that grab. And Kelvin right away are going to unleash a huck. Has the receiver going, but that disc, just maybe the wrong edge put on it once again. This point turned into a bit of a longer, scrappy point here. Neither of these teams connecting on those shots. Yonkman upfield to Toth. Scooped into the hands of Campbell. Now Bredney. Has the reset. Instead goes around across the field to Toth. Creative shot, and Toth tried to put it into the end zone to Cho, but his defender had peeled off. Tramley gets a hand to it. And Tramley will tap it back in. 5 minutes to go in this game. The Clippers trying to take it to game point still. Unleashing yet another huck. This one is going to hang in the air. Receiver has time, and the defender is going to get there instead. Campbell. Now Cho. Bredney. Again, yards of open space for Arabella Bredney there. And collected on the second effort by Toth. SJR just trying to work it into the end zone. It's bobbled on the first attempt. Youngman reels it in on the second. Get themselves another point on the board. But unfortunately, still 11-7 here with 4 minutes to go. We are likely going to be seeing Kelvin head straight back to the semifinals. These two teams have traded points in the second half. We haven't seen either team break. Fortunately for SJR, just dug themselves a hole in that first half. I think they will know that they can build on this for future games. Kelvin looking to close this one out. We will be live streaming the semifinals right away at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time for you here on Ultimate Canada's YouTube page. As it stands right now, we will see Kelvin facing off in that semifinal as well, likely against Etobicoke Collegiate. We'll update you as soon as this game's over on our social media who that will be, but you can tune in right away. Wilson walks it into the middle. Looking for Gillis, going. Megan Gillis reels it in on the end zone line. Looking for the reset with Peterson. Low on options. Finds him around in the middle. Wilson getting open. Wilson around to the end zone looking for Gillis, who taps it off her hand to Cassidy Knockhart, and you can see the excitement between those two players. That's got to be the second or third time they've done that between the two of them, and they get away with the goal. They make it game point here. 12-7, the Kelvin Clippers 1 point away, 2 minutes away from the semifinals. No breaks yet in the second half. We'll see if Kelvin can end the game on a break here. Always nicer to get to that 13 points than to be hard capped for the win as well. Kelvin getting set to pull. Miles sails that one out of bounds and into the stands. Upfield for Dubitz. Dubitz is going to unleash that deep, has Way going, tracking it down, the huge layout. He got his hands on it, but unfortunately losing control of the disc when he hit the ground. An incredible play there from Eagle Way. The hardcap horn has gone, so this will be the last point of the game. See if Kelvin can end it with that perfect 13. Dubitz almost getting his hand to that, looking for that Callahan opportunity. Now Kelvin forced to go deep. Has a receiver, unfortunately bobbled off the hands of Sokalski. SJR to the end zone, has Way in the space. Way will track it down, the layout attempt there. Anton Sokalski tried to get back, but SJR will end this with another point of their own. We saw these two teams trade perfectly through the second half of this game. But unfortunately for SJR, that first whole half, not enough to come back from. Kelvin Clippers will win this one 12-8. They are headed back to the semifinals, the reigning 2018 champions, looking for a repeat title. We will be broadcasting their semifinal game at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, so don't go anywhere. We will be back in just a moment. Thank you so much for tuning in for this one.